Hello there guys, it's the Adventurous Allotment here, and this is part 2. This is the ornamental video where I'm going to go around pretty much looking at their plants, and I'm going to cover one plant actually, a few plants that I forgot to cover in the fruit video before I start because I forgot all about them. But yeah, so if you come around here, I'll just do two last. One was the grapevine, which is this one here, and it's starting to sort of turn into its autumn colours. You can see the colours for the autumn are starting to emerge. So the grapevine is shutting down, but it will be soon, I think, flowering in the next few years. But yeah, it's all trained now. So what I've done is I've put an espalier type training on one thing there, so you can see that, and then I've turned it up over onto the next one, so there should be 2 rows for fruiting in coming years. So we should have a few, well, we can see where it will fruit because you can see where the joints are, so that's usually a fruiting spur. If you see there, there'll be one perhaps there, there'll be one here, there'll be one here, there. So you can imagine where the bunches of grapes will grow from. So it'll be like there, there'll be a few on there, and then it'll repeat the other side, so there'll be more fruiting spurs, and the same will then continue here, and there will be more fruiting spurs. So I expect 2 levels of fruiting grape bunches, so that'll be good. The last plant that I forgot to do was the arbutus, the strawberry tree. And now it's funny this, because the fruit on the strawberry tree take an age to develop, and they're just sitting there for the year, just so small, and you're like, will this even be ready for like when it November or October when they're in full fruit? And then all of a sudden at the last minute they become massive really quickly. And I found some, you can see right in there, like this one here is just they're huge now. They're growing at a big rate. Yeah, and that is actually taking quite a toll on the foliage, because there's a lot of yellowing going on, because it is no mean feat to develop these fruit. I don't know whether there'll be enough for my intended purpose, which was to make the liqueur. There's only about 20 on here. I don't think that's enough, but if I can sort of collect them and see what happens with it, maybe there might be enough. But you can see them, maybe you can see them in there. There's quite a few just dotted around. Yeah, so, and there's of course the flowers are growing back as well. There's flowers at the same time. Of course, that's one of the things about this plant, is it flowers and fruit ripens at the same time. Anyway, so that's that. I will cut short. So that was the fruit video. Now I'm going to have a look at the ornamental. So basically I'll start with stuff that really seems fairly innocuous. So here, this plant in the pot here, that's a I forget the name now. It's called elephant foot or something. Anyway, it's usually grown as a house plant. Usually grows this big bulb here. This big bulbous sort of storage root, and that keeps water in there when it's dry. These things do grow in Mexico in the desert, so yeah. And one of these in the pot. I love these aeoniums. These are little aeonium here. I actually got this I actually took it off a cutting in Cornwall. These things actually grow wild in Cornwall, and they grow wild in the Scilly Isles. So I took a piece and I grew it, and it's taken, and I love these things, so I'm going to grow one on, and then I'm going to take more cuttings, and therefore that's the great thing about succulents. You can divide them to the earth, to the moon and back, because they're easy to cultivate. If I go along here, I'm probably gonna excuse me, I'm gonna focus on these. This is as every year, this is the Cuphea cyanea with the orange flowers. Very beautiful flowering plant. Thing straight ahead, of course, is the Sonchus fruticosus, and we've done this before. The Canary Island dandelion tree, which has flowered already and is now sort of starting to grow up again, but it hasn't grown much this year. But its stem. I'll try and get an air so you can see its stem. But the thing is, they're growing everywhere. They've developed more heads around the plant. Yeah, you can see in maybe you can see in there. The stem is woody. It's quite thick now. Yeah, there's quite a bit thick stem on there, and it's actually multi-headed now. So if it survives the winter and the frost, it'll look quite good. Moving along, we've got the bananas. The bananas haven't grown terribly big, but their stems are starting to develop more, as you can see in there. And more, there's pops actually coming up on the bottom there. So I think they'll be growing nicely in the next few years. Maybe they'll get some height. The Daucus decipiens, the Madeira and parsley, starting to show signs of senescence now on the main stem. It's starting to turn woody, and that's usually a sign that the stem is dying. Of course, these seeds have been produced. The weird thing about these seeds is, as the stem comes senescent, they tend to die, the seeds as well, which is surprising because I thought they'd stay viable. But it seems as the stem dies, the seeds die with it. So I've been removing quite a few, and I'll probably replant them as they go along. The Tetrapanax papifera, the rice paper plant, really done well this year. It's got huge leaves, yeah, and it's put on quite a bit of growth in its trunk, as you can see there. It's getting big. It's quite wide now actually, and these plants they're quite good. They're very nice actually, the plants, and yeah, their leaves are huge, but I think this is about as big as the leaves will get, I think. So it's probably not a T-Rex, it's probably just a standard Tetrapanax papyrifera. Well, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so it's probably just a standard Tetrapanax, and this will be a nice little ornamental as it grows up and creates some kind of tropical look as the border fills out a bit. And then in there you've got under the Physalis, you can see it's Justicia resinii, which has done okay last winter and this summer. And then just various plants. And if I go around, I can show you the other things. Actually, while I'm here, I'll do this plant. So here we've got Corea Schlechtendalii. I can never remember that, but the thing is flowering, and you can see some of the flowers like by my hand there. Very attractive. Always flowers in autumn rather than. Oh, there's one actually. That's a better example. And they have that lovely little bicolour. So this is in flower. It seems to be doing okay, even though it's swamped by all this stuff. And there's cannas, and like I mentioned before, the pelargonium, the zonal pelargonium, and also the canna, which has done really well this year, and that one down there, but more especially the black canna, red canna, even reddy black canna at the back, which is almost done flowering, but there's another that might flower again before winter's end, which is interesting. And within this also is the lantana, which is great. That's a nice little plant there with the flowers. That's a nice plant. And not to forget here, but the Brugmansia, which is probably going to flower this year, but I don't know, no sign of any flower bud yet. We'll see. But that's doing well. And then all of the this is the Jerusalem cherry, that Christmas time plant that you have as a house plant. That does okay outside. Eucomis with its lovely tropical leaves. Actually, it's developing some seed pods, so I might be able to collect some seed from that, from the flowers it's produced. Pineapple lily, of course, it's known as. Really nice plant, that actually. And then a better view of all the banana trunks there, right there, and the banana leaves. So I'll take you over here for the other parts of the ornamental. Actually, I'll go to the middle first, because I've got a fair few ornamental plants in the middle. So yeah, coming over here by the citrus, I had the ginger lilies. That's the ginger lilies this year. Hedychium forestii, the lily from the Yunnan part of, I think it's the Yunnan part of China, and then I've got the Kufir with the pink flowers in, just to mix amongst the Hedychium there. But I've also got this. This is the Fascicularia, the bromeliad from Chile, Fascicularia bicolor. This would normally be flowering now, but it's a bit too young, and you can usually tell the flowers. They've got flowers in the centre. They are very close related to pineapples, so they have their flowering in the centre. Of course, a pineapple is a flower. It's a flowering organ of a plant. This kind of is very similar, but this is not mature enough yet to flower. But it's very healthy, so that'll be doing its thing. Here is there's Agapanthus still trying to flower, and I think actually I saw before I've got some. I forget the name of them. Kaffir lily, but there's some flowers on there, so that's nice to see, and got a flower spike in general. So as I go around here though, there's Echeveria elegans, I'd like to say, but I don't think it is elegans. It's the blue Echeveria, Echeveria. Yeah, but that's done well. Hopefully that'll continue to grow. This is the Anisodontia capensis. I'm not sure which variety this is. I think it's actually from seed. I can't remember. But yeah, that's good. As I come down here, Mirabilis jalapa, which has been flowering so well all summer, and it's actually producing loads of seeds, and the seeds pop up in these little pods here. So if you can see that there where my finger is, it's like a black, you can see black seed. Yeah, there's loads of them. I will be collecting them and regrowing them. I'll probably just leave this plant in the ground. Maybe it'll come back next year, maybe it won't. It won't be a great loss because it's just a one coloured variety. See, these things don't really flower until after dark, but the thing is with this is as it gets darker and the nights draw closer, this plant will start to flower more in the daytime than it does usually. And then down here is the cactus. Now I was hoping for fruit off this, but it doesn't look like there will be, but although that one over there seems to be changing colour, so maybe if that's not gonna that might actually be ready to turn colour. Maybe that'll give a fruit. Okay, that was interesting. But some of them have fallen off, so they weren't pollinated for whatever reason. Again, this is Aloe striatula. Has really done well. I'm gonna have to kind of like cut this back a bit though, because I don't want it interfering with the citrus production. Yeah, and the last plant in this area is of course Metrosideros umbellata. I don't know whether these actually developing here on the ends of this plant, which is in this pot currently, are flower buds or I think they're leaf buds, to be honest. I've got some on my hand here, just crawling around. Say hello to the camera. There you go. Don't know what it is. Quite interesting. Anyway, so I've got these, and this, it looks like leaf buds. Maybe next year it'll flower. A very slow plant either way, but I'll be putting this in the greenhouse this year because it's a bit, you know, I don't want to chance it in any frost that we get. So yeah, so that's that. So if I go over to the other side, I can show you the last of the ornamentals, which is of course straight ahead. And this is my Euphorbia mellifera, which flowered and produced loads of seed this year, and it's looking good. As you can see, it's growing and growing and growing. It's actually nearly doubled in height since the last 2 years, so you can't really tell from here, but I'm on a zoom out, and this is probably about, I think it's about 7 foot now, 7 foot high, and it will get bigger of course over time. And the other one behind it not so big, but that's because it's probably about the same size actually, because it's on lower ground. But yeah, they're doing well. And my what's it called, the Juan Fernandez Island cabbage tree is doing well. Hasn't grown again. It hasn't grown much this year. I think that's because it's in a pot though and doesn't really do well. Actually, while I'm here, I'll show you the other one that was planted in ground for an experiment, and you can see it there just at the back. Again, it's stayed small this year. It hasn't particularly put much growth on because it's the soil it's in and the fact it's got very little light, and you know, it was quite a dry year. So anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, that concludes the ornamental part of this video, and hopefully we'll continue to see them grow, and then we'll probably hopefully get things like Brugmansia flowering, and maybe we'll see a few other things extending their flowering season into November and December, hopefully, because that's kind of the way it is these days. Never used to be, of course, but with climate changing, and it is, whether I've said this before, it is changing whether we like it or not, and it does lead to some differences in how things work. So flowering is becoming as much a part of winter as it is summer in recent times. But anyway, thanks for watching this. Hope you found that interesting, and I'll see you for the next video, which is a very short greenhouse analysis video of the greenhouse and how that's doing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll be back soon for another video.